Bay City Republic gave him a shout out. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, both this year and 2 years ago, he gave me the bus for free to A&M.
He gave you the bus?
For free.
Oh, look okay? Look okay? Don't forget to smile. So yeah, we'll right into Alyssa Nair, okay? So it's Chicago, player to watch.
Dash player to watch, throw to Ben.
But what wins the 10 roster moves?
Oh, that's before Amber.
Before when?
Amber,
Okay.
I think.
It is a windy night here at BBVA Compass Stadium on Houston's East End. A good look at Amber Brooks. But the fans got here early for a Carli Lloyd bobblehead. Managing Director Randy Waldrum, or Brian Ching, along with head coach Randy Waldrum, as the Houston Dash and Carli Lloyd welcome the Chicago Red Stars. Welcome up to the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson. Jen, it's great to be back. For the Dash, it's year number 3. For the NWSL, it's an historic year number 4. For the Dash, it's playoffs or bust this season. That's been the talk all preseason. And for Chicago, after a first-round playoff exit but a great regular season last year, it's trying to take lessons learned from a year ago into this year.
Right, not a lot of off-season losses for Chicago that impact their starting lineup tonight, but one very big acquisition, and that's goalkeeper Alyssa Nair. Acquired in an off-season trade with Boston, Chicago now has what looks to be the number 2 keeper for the U.S. women's national team. Talking to Rory Dames today, he said people don't realize just how good she is, that Julie Johnson kept telling him, you need to get Alyssa, that she brings a lot of calmness to the back line.
Yeah, Jen, he also told us it took 3 months to get Alyssa Nair in the trade, but he thinks she brings calmness to the back line, good communication, presence, and great shot-stopping ability.
And she was such a big part of the lead up to the Women's World Cup. Didn't get any playing time, but a player that really challenges Hope Solo. 2014 NWSL Goalkeeper of the Year, set a lot of records for Boston Breakers. It's going to be a big part of the Chicago Red Stars.
Well, 10 moves made in the offseason. Let's take a look at them. For me, Jen, it was a lot of youth acquired in the draft, mostly in the attacking positions, and a lot of experience brought into the back line and at goalkeeper.
Right, and with that experience, Lydia Williams, like you mentioned, goalkeeper, Australia's likely starting keeper for the Olympics, brings a lot of authority back there. And of course, Becca Moros from Kansas City, who won their 2nd consecutive title, bringing her in to play center back. And then that young attacking talent, Dash getting 3 first-round draft picks. What a haul, and 2 of them will start tonight.
Along with Cami Privet, who got some experience in Scandinavia and is now back as a professional with the Dash. Let's take a look at one of those newcomers, Amber Brooks, a trade made in October just after the end of the offseason. A great year in Seattle, played with Randy Waldrum on the U23s. This was a big pickup.
Amber Brooks is one of those fringe players for the national team. You know, we've seen her name. She's had some caps. She's been the U20s, U23s. She's going to bring so much to this team in terms of her defensive abilities, a way to kind of sit on top of that line and really give the team something we haven't seen before, like that defensive teeth right before the back line.
Yeah, definitely some experience. The captain at North Carolina, her last 2 years as they won national championships. But one of these rock players, you can feel her presence when you talk to her. You can feel her leadership qualities. Someone that takes this job very seriously and wants to win.
And we've even seen her captain for some of the games in the preseason.
We have a new member of our team here in 2016. His name is Ben Crook. Done a lot of work with the Dash over the last few seasons. He is on the sidelines, and he has more on the pickup of Amber Brooks and what she brings to the Dash this season.
Thanks, guys. Like Jen said, Amber Brooks' main responsibility at the base of that midfield triangle in Randy Waldrum's preferred 4-3-3 formation is to provide defensive cover for the back line, breaking up attacks, and then in turn springing the attack for the dash. And that's where her role really comes into play. It allows players like Andressa, Morgan Bryant, and Carly Lloyd to focus their time and energy in the final third for the dash, creating chances and hopefully scoring more goals. Back to you guys.
You'll hear from Ben throughout this night and throughout this season at home games. The teams are out on the field. We'll take our only break. When we come back, starting lineups for the 2016 Houston Dash season opener are coming up next.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
One last screw, sweetie, and we're done.
Sweet! You deserve the sweet reward of a Diet Dr. Pepper.
I do?
You built this big old house with that tiny tool.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh.
That is sweet.
Oh, yeah!
You know, the game's about to start.
That's my ride.
Is that our cat?
Step on it. Real sweet! Diet Dr. Pepper. It's the sweet one.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
A good look at BBVA Compass Stadium. It is windy, it is stormy, but the rain has held off for now. The anthem has been sung, and let's get right into the starting lineups. First for Rory Dames and the Chicago Red Stars. Second best record in the regular season last year, only 3 losses for Chicago, and most of that team is back, Jen, plus a few additions that will probably improve the team.
We already talked about Alyssa Nair in goal. They also picked up Amanda da Costa, the Portuguese international from Washington Spirit, in a trade. Also Casey Short, who had some professional time playing in Norway. Other than that, all of these players were part of the starting lineup for Chicago. So as you mentioned in the pregame, it's not so much an overhaul as just those final tweaks, lessons learned from last season.
It was an overhaul for Randy Waldrum, the head coach of the Dash, in his 3rd season. We look at their starting lineup, and as you'll see, only 3 holdovers from this time a year ago. Those are Carly Lloyd, Kalia Ohai, and Alicia Chapman. 8 newcomers, experience, youth, attacking experience, international experience. A lot to like about this team.
Though several of the players who weren't here opening day last year did come mid-season last year, like Ellie Brush and Andressa. You know, the draft picks we talked about, Rachel Daly, Janine Becky, both attack, great additions to the attack. First-round draft picks starting as rookies. That's huge.
Yeah, and Poliana, one that was signed by the Dash in December of 2014, but couldn't come. It was a complicated situation, but she is here, and Randy Waldrom's very confident. Most people around the league are saying the Dash will be fighting for a playoff place this year, and it seems to be a much improved team. When we talked to Rory Dames earlier today, he talked about the 3-year cycle, and he thinks this is the year the Dash could peak.
And also the preseason tournament that the Dash were able to be a part of with playing against Portland Thorns and Seattle Reign in preseason. That's huge preparation. So these rookies are coming into their first NWSL game already having played NWSL competition. That's huge.
We look down at the fields. A message here from Morgan Bryan. Morgan Bryan, of course, a star at the World Cup and best player at the CONCACAF Olympic qualifying tournament, which was held right here at BBVA Compass Stadium.
Right, we spoke to her right after she got that trophy. It was so heavy she had to set it down on the ground. But I was so impressed that she was awarded with that because she didn't score any goals in the tournament, and often that award goes to a goal scorer. But it shows, what she really provided in terms of feeding her teammates and also playing a defensive role.
Yeah, it is refreshing. Normally it's the leading scorer, an assist person, a big name. It was kind of the holding midfielder that got it done for Jill Ellis and the U.S. women's national team. The teams are out on the field. New uniforms for the Dash, both home and away, primary, secondary. There was a pick the kit competition, Jen.
Yeah, fans were allowed to vote after they unveiled the secondary kit Thursday at BBVA Compass in Houston. And the fan vote went through 10 a.m. this morning. 65% of the fans voted for the new secondary kit. But I do like that it's got orange on it too. So either way, you've got some orange.
Our referee tonight is Christopher Spivey. It feels more like Candlestick Park in San Francisco than BBVA Compass Stadium here in Houston. There's concession wrappers blowing across the field, but a good crowd expected, and two good teams from last year kick off the 2016 season here at BBVA Compass Stadium. The Dash in the blue and orange uniforms, blue shorts and the blue and orange tops. Chicago Red Stars with the black and blue, attacking from our right to our left.
Yeah, the Red Stars incorporating the black from their first ever third kit last year, which was all black. So here's a blend for their away kit, black and blue.
Early foul called by our referee, Christopher Spivey. Chicago with a free kick at midfield. Chicago, 8 wins, 3 losses, 9 draws last year, 33 points. A really good start to the season. They won 5 of their first 9 games, but they only won 3 of their last 11.
They were on fire to start the 2015 season, and I think Kristen Press had maybe 4 goals in 3 games, 5 goals in 3 games, just before she left to join Women's World Cup preparations.
Here's Chapman. An opportunity for Chicago. Press cannot get around Becca Moros. So Moros playing center back. We saw her a lot last season at left back for FC Kansas City, won the title, a fixture for Wlatko Andonovski's side, but playing center back tonight for Randy Waldrom.
Yeah, and Randy Waldrom has a couple of choices at center back. Ellie Brush, also Cammie Privet.
Quality build up here for the Dash. An early opportunity. It's just over the bar. Rachel Daly with quality service from another draft pick, Janine Becky. The rookies combining, and it was just past the post of Alyssa Nair.
Yeah, great combination from the rookies. Just getting a good start early on, just in that second minute. Assert your presence with authority. Isn't that how they say in baseball?
Something like that. Maybe in Major League or Bull Durham. I think Bull Durham. Nair with the goal kick. Brooks' first touch in front of Lloyd. Nair off her line. Some indecision from Johnson. And it's a throw in here for the Houston Dash. They take it quickly. Poliana, the Brazilian, with Janine Becky. Poliana keeps it in play. Back to Becky. Decent ball. An overhead kick attempted. Lloyd At the edge of the box, well defended that time. Danny Colaprico pushes it out for a dash throw-in.
And one of the things Rory Dames had mentioned to us is that he felt that the Dash and the other teams that had played in the preseason tournament kind of had a little head start. He felt Chicago might be playing catch-up, and you can see that offensive spark that the Dash are ready to play after that 3-game tournament.
Chapman wins the first corner kick for the Houston Dash, and it's young Andressa. What a bright newcomer last year, came right after the Pan America Games. Started every game for Brazil at the World Cup. So much technical quality. There, two-hand punch away, and cleared out further by Kristen Press. Here comes Chicago. Press defended by Moros. Good defending that time. Moros got a foot in. Good, quick, tight passing from the Dash. Now it's lost by Becky, too far in front of Lloyd.
One of the big differences we've seen with the Dash in preseason is much more possession style. The style that Randy Waldrum was hoping he could incorporate from the beginning. Just very accurate passes, very quick athletic play.
Not Poliana's best service, right to Alyssa Nair. But we see the wide game already a factor just 4 minutes in, Jen. Finding these wide players, in that case an outside back getting forward on this right side for Randy Waldrum in the Dash. Good defending by Brush. It's a throw-in now for the Houston Dash. Catch Dash Soccer in HD all season long on Root Sports Southwest, the home of Dash Soccer and Houston Dynamo Soccer.
Well, speaking of width, Matt, I think an important thing to note for Chicago is that their home field up until this season has been St. Benedictine, which is a very narrow field. So at home, they're always playing very narrow. Now they'll be at Toyota Park. They'll be playing wider. It'll be interesting to see how their game transitions now that they'll always be playing on a wider field.
Casey Short to take the throw in, another Chicagoland native. Played at Florida State. And now back with Chicago after spending 2014 with the Red Stars. Becky's been active here in the early going. Lloyd for Becky. She's onside. Ojai in the middle. And Julie Johnston, good position to clear the danger.
Great flank play from Janine Becky, getting up there to serve it over to Kalia. We saw a little bit of that in the Portland tournament.
Dash on the front foot here in the first 6 minutes at BBVA Compass Stadium. Brooks with Daly. May have hit her hand. Ref lets them play. Poliana. I think Becky thought she was offside, so she stopped her run. And it's going to eventually roll out for a goal kick.
Impressive that Janine Becky's starting, given that she was with Canada playing in the Netherlands, and she actually scored a goal against the Netherlands in their friendly. I think that was last Sunday.
Many of these players played Sunday, including the U.S. national team contingent. A win against Colombia. Nair in goal got the shutout.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear that Alyssa Nair has taken over as the number 2. It was understood during 2015 that Ashlyn Harris was number 2 for the U.S. national team, but given that she hasn't had a cap in a while and Alyssa's had 3 since December, a lot of U.S. national team fans are thinking, all right, Alyssa must be the number 2. And I know there's a lot of Boston Breakers fans watching tonight, especially as the Washington-Boston game is almost over, because they're still just such fans of Alyssa Nair.
Put out from Sam Johnson, partnering Julie Johnston tonight. She has played as an outside back, but Rory Dames told us she has more experience at center back than some people think. Here's Ojai. Good ball towards the back post, but Lloyd was further at the top of the box, but she'll still run it down. Here's the reigning World Player of the Year. She draws a foul. Now is Aaron Gilliland with the shoulder barge against Lloyd. Free kick here for Andressa. Bright start for the Dash. Andressa still just 20 years of age. Good ball floated in, punched away by Nair. Ojai with her head up. Amber Brooks, good vision to spot Alicia Chapman on the left. Floated ball back post, the flag came up right as Ojai headed it wide, and it's a goal kick for Chicago. Be sure to visit HoustonSoccerShop.com for all your Dash gear. Grab a Carly Lloyd jersey or any of the Dash players' gear straight from your phone, tablet, or laptop at HoustonSoccerShop.com.
We should also point out the new uniforms for the goalkeepers, Matt. All the goalkeepers this season in the league in new kits as well.
DiBernardo. Wonderful ball, but unable to control it is Kristen Press. A thumbs up of acknowledgement from Press towards DiBernardo. Outstanding vision. We have our first final in the 2016 NWSL season, Jen.
Yeah, Washington at home hosting Boston Breakers in the first game of the 2016 season. They topped Boston 1-0, pretty tough match. And I think it's fitting that Washington hosted the first match of the historic fourth season because that was the location that hosted the first women's professional soccer match in the U.S. in 2001. They had Washington Freedom versus Bay Area Cyber Rays at RFK.
Fourth season for the NWSL. We'll have Jeff Plush talking with Jen Cooper at halftime. He announced, along with Dynamo president Chris Canetti, that this stadium will host the NWSL final Sunday, October 9th, as Chicago gains their first corner kick.
So excited to have that announcement this early in the season so fans can plan and to know that it's not only on national TV but on a weekend.
Good weather usually here in October. A busy sports calendar for Houston, Texas over the last 12 to 18 months.
NCAA Final Four, we got some Copa America matches coming up. Dynamo have Real Sociedad.
Here's the corner kick. Huerta targeting Casey Short. It's headed wide for a goal kick. Moros. New York City native. Chapman. Lost it. Here comes Chicago. Vanessa DiBernardo. Moros. A half clearance. And then good tenacity from Alicia Chapman. She draws a foul. Free kick, Houston.
It's getting pretty blustery here, Matt. I'm wondering how is this going to affect the run of play.
Yeah, you saw there on that floated ball in the box, it may have had some impact. You don't expect it too much in a full 22,000 seat stadium. Normally the structure of the stadium limits the wind somewhat, but it is howling across BBVA Compass Stadium. You see some litter on the field. That's just blowing in from the concourse. Ellie Brush. Right to Casey Short. That slips through. A breakdown at the back. Here's Kristen Press, and she makes it 1-0 to the Red Stars. Such a good start for Houston, but an ill-fated back pass that was not dealt with by the Houston back line, and Press made no mistake.
You've got to think, Matt, that that's the only way that they're going to let Chicago score, given how much they've been pressing. And I'm sure Morris is thinking, I need to have that pass back. But when you set it up like that, there's no way Kristen Press is going to miss.
A best 11 pick last year. 10 goals in 11 regular season games. And that's just disappointing for Randy Waldrum in the dash. They've been on the front foot. The ball been in the half of Chicago most of the first 13 minutes, but one poor pass across the back, and Press makes Houston pay. We saw this sometimes last year, Jen, the dash giving up the first goal at home. It's been part of their lack of success in the regular season is not taking care of business at home.
But usually we saw those goals come from not defending set pieces. And this is obviously a different situation. And they've been pressing so much. You know, usually I think they've been taking it, and they have a slip. They've been pushing on Chicago. So it'll be interesting to see how this dash, a very different dash, reacts to going down 1-0.
And now Chicago seems to be coming out of their shell a little bit, pressing higher up the field with a 1-goal lead. Huerta that time fouling Chapman. Free kick, Houston on the far side.
Now that goal for Kristen Press, Matt, gives her 17 for her NWSL career, which ties her with Sydney Leroux, who's taking the season off to have a baby, and the now retired Abby Wambach.
Handball that time on Poliana. She contended it was off her chest. Referee Christopher Spivey had a pretty good view. So how did the Dash respond? A lot of talk this offseason, this new attacking system. It's still a 4-3-3, but maybe more mobile, more technical among the front three. And now playing from behind at home. Andressa lost it. Now it's Erin Gilliland getting forward. Kentucky native, running at the box. Around Chapman. And it's a goal kick. Good defending from Alicia Chapman. Gilliland, Jen, the number 8 pick last year. Interesting, our conversation with Rory Dames last year. We asked him about his great success in the draft. And he talked about how he wants the best player at the position they're targeting. And then second to that, he trusts certain programs and certain coaches he knows. And Kentucky is one of those programs that he has a lot of faith in. And their head coach, Tom Lippitz.
And Erin Gilliland really being the first player out of Kentucky to make such a mark in the pros. And I think that gave him confidence to go ahead and draft Courtney Reitzman.
Goal kick now to Chicago. That's John Lippitz, I beg your pardon, his Kentucky program. But you see with the Chicago team, Santa Clara, Kentucky, Florida State, just a few of the programs they've taken multiple players from over the last few seasons.
It's just impressive, the draft history for the Red Stars in general, that the players tend to stay. They're not traded away, and they become starters so quickly. This is the first draft where they really didn't have any top picks. Their top pick was, you know, number 19. So I think that's the only reason you're not seeing any rookies in their lineup.
Turnover from the Dash. Service from Motts. Press tries to turn. Good work from Brooks in that perfect position to clean up the mess. Advantage play. Here come the Dash. Ball's behind Lloyd. But the Dash regained possession. Here's Lloyd. A golden ball winner. And the offside flag is up on Kaylee Ojai on this near side. John, I think that sequence was a great example of Amber Brooks and her presence. She was right there at the top edge of the penalty area defensively to win that loose ball and eventually lead to a counterattack for Houston.
And we talked so much about her defensive presence in the pregame, but also her ability to create a play is just as important.
Second offside flag against Ojai in the early going, but I think that's a good sign for this Dash team that had sometimes in the first 2 seasons struggled to score. The fact they're getting into positions where they can be offside on the attacking end is a positive. You saw Brush that time grab the back of the shirt of Press. She'll escape a booking, but it's a free kick now for Chicago.
Yeah, this is probably the youngest, fastest Dash roster there's ever been, and you can see with all that pressing that they've got the energy for it. DiBernardo stepping up, and she can place it on a dime anywhere she wants. We'll just see how much the wind affects it.
Colaprico given some final instructions. It could be the left-footed Colaprico or DiBernardo. It is DiBernardo. And that's going to go out for a Chicago corner kick. It came off the head of Ellie Brush. Jen, we talked with Randy Waldrum yesterday about entering year 3. He said there's excitement, anxiety, a little bit of both. You're wondering, are you ready for the season? And I think that trip to Portland obviously helped things out, but I think any coach in any sport on opening day, you have those sort of feelings.
And I know he's going to be really nervous too about next week against Orlando playing the other expansion team.
Late whistle before DiBernardo's corner kick. And a few words for Amber Brooks. Yeah, of course, the Dash go to Orlando next week. A lot of excitement around that franchise as they enter year 1. Johnson with the header, but it's over the bar. She got to the spot first, but just cannot keep it down. Goal kick to the Dash.
And Julie Johnson can be so dangerous there, as we saw in the match against Colombia. You know, for the U.S. women, she had 2 great goals like that.
11 games for the national team already, and it's April 16th. A busy 2016 as Lloyd wins possession. Maybe some frustration for Lloyd. And a free kick to Chicago.
Well, and not just 11 matches, Matt, but 2 very significant tournaments. You know, if it wasn't an Olympic year, you wouldn't have that CONCACAF tournament. And of course, the first ever She Believes Cup that they had in Florida and also in Tennessee. U.S. winning all 3 games against the other top 3 teams in the top 4 in the world.
Not the longest clearance from Chapman, but what a good tackle from Amber Brooks. Timed it well, had to get it right on the edge of the box. Here comes Houston. Lloyd trying to pick out Daly. Daly will pick up the scrap, and Daly scored on her Dash debut! Huge celebrations on the Houston sideline. And much like Kristen Press capitalizing on a Houston mistake, it's Rachel Daly picking up a loose ball using 1 touch to beat Nair.
And what a way to kind of sneak it around the keeper. Just a 1-touch ball, tough angle. Nair's coming out, but she's still got it in, bouncing against the back net. Way to start your professional career. First goal in your first game. You know, she set a record at St. John's, 50 goals in just 3 seasons. And this is why the Dash were willing to use an international spot on a rookie.
Great response for the Dash. They looked a little bit phased for about 10 minutes since the Kristen Press goal, and just like that, it came under the legs of Johnson, and Daly did not hesitate. Here comes Chicago, right back the other way. DiBernardo. Good defending again from Brooks. Very open feel to this game here in the 23rd minute. Both teams pushing forward. Chicago pressing high.
And unless I'm wrong, I think that whole sequence that ended up with Daly's goal started with Amber Brooks.
Big tackle right on the edge of the box. So here we are, 1-1 from BBVA Compass Stadium midway through the first half. Colaprico with the cross blocked out by Poliana. Just one of those classic soccer celebrations, the first goal right in front of the bench.
First professional goal, first goal of the season. Yeah. And one of the advantages of having a player like Rachel Daly is her having played in England, she was exposed to more of a professional environment than most of the players growing up in the U.S. get. So probably a little less of a jump to the pros for her.
Another corner kick for Chicago. Danny Colaprico will take it. 22-year-old in her second season in Chicago. Good clearance from Poliana. Here comes Daly. Pressed it well to win a Chicago throw-in.
Nice to see Andressa coming all the way over to play some defense.
Daly and Janine Becky not shoo-ins for the starting lineup. Some good other attacking options for Randy Waldrum, but they seemingly earned their starting spots after this preseason.
Well, especially with Becky being gone with the Canadians, we thought we might see Chioma Bagagu start up top as we did in their final preseason match against A&M. But clearly, Becky earned that spot.
Here's Gilliland. Make that Motts. And a throw-in for Chicago. Chapman's been pretty steady on that left side. And now a goal kick to the dash, good defending by Brooks. Nothing gets past the keeper, and that's why you should listen to the Houston Soccer Podcast every month at keepernotes.com. Available the first Thursday of each month. The Houston Soccer Podcast features exclusive interviews with Dash and Dynamo players and coaches. Maros. Back to Lydia Williams, 27-year-old. Made her Australia debut age 18. Last season with Canberra United.
Had a pretty good World Cup last summer. Australia actually eliminating Brazil in the round of 16.
Here's Ohan, spinning away from Sam Johnson. Good ball towards the middle. It's Julie Johnston to push it out, but it's a dash corner kick. Jen, these dash players just seem very direct in a good way. They get the ball, they want to go right to goal. Not a lot of east and west.
Is this the Barcelona team that Randy's been planning all along?
We'll see. We're still in the first half, 1 goal scored. Here's Andressa to take this corner kick. Julie Johnston heads away. Lloyd had her eyes on it. Good touch that time by Press, but good numbers behind the ball for the dash. And it's the slide of Ellie Brush that wins it for Houston. Andressa. Here's Janine Becky. Play on, says the referee. Lloyd will! Appeals for a handball, but it's cleared out by Chicago. Huge challenge that time as Nair came off her line. Here comes Andressa, trying to slalom between two. Becky for Ojai. Good touch, Poliana right back to Andressa. The Brazilians leaking up. Good ball, back post, good recovery that time. Erin Gilliland backpedaling to head away.
And look how far up both of the outside backs are for the dash. Chappie all the way up to the top of the box, Poliana halfway between the box and the midline.
Late run this time from Ojai. Ojai, Nair pushes it away. And Chicago just desperate with the clearance.
And just like Randy Waldrum said, Alyssa Nair means it's going to be that much harder to score against Chicago.
Ojai made the challenge, and credit to Christopher Spivey for letting play go on. Oftentimes, especially in the women's game, Jen, you see any contact with the goalie whistle blown, but Ojai had a right to that ball. She went for it. play on. Here's Poliana. It bounces in the 6, and Lloyd cannot keep it down. Goal kick to Chicago.
Yeah, Nair really shutting things down for Chicago. But no one being able to get the final touch. Lloyd can't get that down and keep it under the bar.
So a great spell from the Dash. They've been galvanized since the first professional goal from Rachel Daly.
Watching Dash in preseason, even that first game where they played Baylor University, it was interesting to see how much Rachel Daly was yelling at some of the non-rookie players. So she brings a lot of presence and fierceness to the game.
Number 6 pick by the Dash. It was about as busy of an hour as you could have for Randy Waldrum and the managing director, Brian Ching. They went Daly, number 6, Janine Becky, number 8.
And Carrie Riccaro, number 5 before Rachel Daly. But hey, when they were done with that, their draft day was done.
Off to the airport to reflect on the busy, busy day.
As opposed to Chicago, you know, their top pick was number 19. They picked up Katie Naughton, who played with Randy Waldrum at Notre Dame, and he says she was the steal of the draft, and be interesting to see if she gets some time tonight at center back possibly. But they had Chicago had 5 picks in the 4th round. Only one of those is signed with the team, Courtney Reitzman, but you can see that Rory Dames has an eye for developing talent.
Giveaway from Chapman, but she works hard to try to win it back. Kristen Press, wide right. Good defending that time. Becca Moros got down to block the cross. Good footwork, Gilliland. Better defending Janine Becky. Now Lloyd. Try to find that through ball for Kaylee Ohai. It's interesting, Jen, here on the half-hour mark. We talked with Randy Waldrum on Friday. He said in years past, maybe because they lacked a little bit of technical quality in the final third, they had to become a counter-attacking team. He says this year they'll be less of a counter-attacking team, but they've sort of counter-attacked here on opening night. Here's Ohai. Good block that time by Julie Johnston. Moros with Chapman. Good shake, but no run from either Lloyd or Daly.
Well, and to have so many players that can, you know, take the ball 30 yards from goal and actually run with it, as opposed to, you know, last year they were kind of forced to use Jessica McDonald as a set piece player. I mean, to like, you know, get it up to her in front of the box. It gives them a lot more options. And the pace of Rachel Daly and Janine Becky, you know, combined with Andressa is amazing.
Well read that time by Brush. Andressa for Poliana. Johnston played every minute for the U.S. at the World Cup last year.
She even made the All-Star team for the World Cup. Or they might call it the top first 11. I can't remember.
I think they call it the All-Star team.
You know, I think you got to give Julie Johnson a lot of credit for helping Rory Dames build this roster. As she was like, you need a listener, you need a listener. And he also told us that before the draft last year, 2015, she was texting him, calling and saying, don't forget Sofia Huerta, don't forget Sofia Huerta.
Yeah, that was really interesting to hear. But she was right. Huerta's been a very good player for Chicago, now in her 2nd season, as the 2016 campaign kicks off tonight here in Houston. Sustained pressure here from Chicago. Colaprico, and it's palmed over the bar. First time called into action, and Lydia Williams was ready. Well done that time from Williams, moving to her left.
Bullet from distance, just hitting the post.
Tough ball to handle. It's bouncing in the 6-yard box, but that time Christopher Spivey blows his whistle. Too much contact against Lydia Williams. Becca Moros. Played at Duke. Veteran of the NWSL as Ojai rides out a hard challenge. Here come the dash. Poliana has options right and left. Poliana into the box. What good footwork. And her cross deflected by Julie Johnston. "35th minute here in Houston. Kristen pressed the opening goal on a mistake at the back by Houston. And then Rachel Daly, her first professional goal, just picking up a loose ball about 25, 30 yards from goal, taking just one touch. Beautifully curled effort around Alyssa Nair.
See, the wind got a little piece of that starting to come into play, but hopefully the rain that's forecast is going to hold off, Matt.
Yeah, we heard 11 p.m. might be when this storm comes through Houston. That would be fine. Kickoff here locally, 7:30 in Houston, Texas.
And we've got another NWSL game that kicked off at 7:30. Kansas City's hosting Western New York Flash, playing it's not Sporting Park anymore, but Sporting Casey's Stadium.
Here's Lloyd. Ojai on this left side. 2 in the box for Ojai. Well defended that time. It's a Chicago goal kick. One other news we got from Randy Waldrum on Friday, Jen, was co-captains this year, Carly Lloyd, Kaylia Ojai. And it was interesting. Lloyd will be the leader that she is for both the national team and the dash, but Ojai, a younger player, can sort of lead the younger group with a lot of team functions and sort of off-field activities as Andressa gets forward.
I think you had a nice analogy. Did you say president and chief of staff?
Yeah, someone doing a lot more of the dirty work, the details, as Chapman sends a long floating cross, which is handled easily by Nair.
Especially when you know that Lloyd will be gone at some point with national team duty. And Kaylia Ojai, one of the 3 players left from the 2014 season. It was interesting. I was looking at the rosters today, realizing that not a single player is left from the Dash expansion draft in January 2014. Kaylia, of course, was their top draft pick. And the other 2 players, Bianca Henniger, Stephanie Oakes, acquired in trades following the expansion draft. Of course, always a lot of movement in this league. We saw nearly every team make wholesale changes as you had retirements, both national team and otherwise.
Flag is up on the far side. The Dash with the free kick. Yeah, 3 sort of mainstays for Chicago. Lori Kolepny, Karina LeBlanc, and Michelle Lumnicki no longer there.
all retired at the end of last season. Of course, Shannon Box retired too, but with injuries, pregnancies, and being gone for the World Cup, she wasn't much of a mainstay in their lineup so much as kind of veteran presence in the locker room.
And then some other pretty big names, Jen. They didn't retire, but Abby Urseg, Melissa Tancredi, Rachel Kwan, Taryn Hemmings. Some names that were a big part of this Chicago team at some point last season. Great passing from Houston on this near side. You can see the confidence of Daly in her speed. Just wants to touch it around the defender and run by. Here's Ojai. Got slowed down just enough by Johnston. It's a goal kick to Chicago.
Well, that's what impresses me most about the Chicago roster is it's a fairly young roster, especially when you consider how much of those names you listed are older players. Not a single player over 27. Of course, Alyssa Nair turns 28 next week, but so much experience for that age. So they're not playing like a rookie team because they are not rookies.
Now a Chicago player down in midfield. It's Alyssa Motts.
Alyssa Motts, alumna of Texas A&M, just up the road from Houston. She's been a part of this club since not only the beginning of NWSL, but she also played with them in WPS and WPSL Elite in the interim between WPS and NWSL.
Jen, with the injury, good opportunity to tell you that we did not see a substitution. Jen Hoy has entered this game for Sofia Huerta, presumably maybe around one of those goals. But Hoy is in, Huerta's off. We're trying to get some information from Ben Crook down on the sideline on if Huerta had an injury.
Unless on the off chance the game report we were given was wrong and she actually started, but I didn't see that. But we will try to get some information on that. Jen Hoy, another original from the first season of NWSL out of Princeton. Not a school that you immediately equate with powerful women's soccer, but she's really been a presence for Chicago. Looks like on the sideline they're just checking her out, asking her questions as you're supposed to do. No real signs of a sub, of course, so you've got 5 Chicago players warming up on the left sideline. We didn't have a chance to look at the injury report in pregame, but Chicago doesn't have any injuries, but Dash 3 players not available right now. You've got Melissa Henderson from a sprained MCL. Of course, Carrie Recaro coming back from hip surgery before she was even drafted, and not yet eligible, Denise O'Sullivan, the Irish international, who should be arriving, I think, today, tomorrow for the Dash.
Here comes Daly once again, backpedaling is Nair. It's Lloyd against Julie Johnston. Well, we've sorted out the issue. It's Amanda DaCosta who's not in this game. Beg your pardon. We're thinking she must have been a late scratch, perhaps an injury in warm-ups, but she was supposed to be in the starting lineup, and Jen Hoy replaced Amanda DaCosta.
Hopefully a minor injury. I mean, she's a key piece of what Rory Dames is trying to do going forward. Brings a lot of creativity in midfield. You know, she's even played for Portugal in some of their Women's Euro qualifiers.
Here's Hoy against Moros. Good position that time from Brush. It's a corner kick for Chicago. Boy, a good story from Princeton University. Another late round draft pick, 25 overall in 2013. Kind of bounced back and forth between preseason and Princeton to finish off her econ degree. Has carved out a nice early career in the NWSL. Colaprico with the delivery, punched away by Lydia Williams. And no problem that time. DiBernardo is saved by Williams. A bright first half, Jen, 44 minutes in. A goal for each side. Kristen Press for Chicago. Rachel Daly scoring on her dash debut, her first pro goal.
Matt, I'm glad you mentioned that Jen Hoy was picked in the 4th round of that first draft for NWSL. Only 2 other 4th rounders still in the league. Maddie Evans, who was with Boston, now with expansion Orlando Pride, and Haley Kottmeyer, backup keeper to Hope Solo for Seattle. You don't often see the 4th rounders still in it.
Gilliland. Sam Johnson. Casey Short. Avaldsnes in Norway for Casey Short last year. Good position from Poliana and a sure-footed a clearance. We'll have 1 minute added on here at the end of the first half. Good touch, Poliana. The Brazilian over midfield. As Ojai to her right. Daly in front, still Poliana. Chicago backs off. Can the Dash get a late one here? And Ojai's shot was blocked in the end. Andressa. Rachel Daly slices it wide.
Nice spin going the wrong way.
Dash on over to HowlerMagazine.com every Tuesday to check out the latest episode of The Mix Zone, the weekly women's soccer podcast hosted by Jen Cooper. The Mix Zone covers the U.S. women's national team, NWSL, and more. Subscribe via iTunes by searching for Howler. Any guests planned for this week?
Yeah, talking to Jim Gabara, who coached that inaugural WSA match, and also Lakeisha Bean, who was the goalkeeper for the Cybrays for that match, and she played for Randy Waldrum. Going to be a good episode.
And there's the halftime whistle. Entertaining first 45 minutes. Here on the opener of the 2016 season. And at halftime we'll go down to Ben Crook, who's with Dash head coach Randy Waldrum.
Randy, tough start, but good rebound by Rachel Daly there in the first half. What did you take away from that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we made a mistake. It's one of the things, the way we're playing out of the back, we're so open. We've got to be certain with the ball, and you can see we made a mistake, and they capitalized on it. But a great comeback from Rachel. It was a fantastic goal, and I was happy with the response of the team. And I think we've created a lot of chances. We just got to do a little bit better in that final third, be a little bit more patient.
Did you like the extended periods of pressure that you were able to get in the final third and keep possession?
Yeah, I do. It's so different than what we've been in the past. And I think the more we can press higher up the field, the more opportunities we create for ourselves because we're not so far from goal. So that's kind of the idea.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ben Crook. We have exciting halftime to come. Jen Cooper will talk with Jeff Plush in the second segment, but in the first segment we'll have highlights and stats from this first half. From BBVA Compass Stadium, it's the Houston Dash 1, Chicago Red Stars 1.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
Houston finishes in 5th place of the NWSL all by themselves.
I know personally when I go home, I'm like, I don't want to have another year where I'm watching the playoffs from my couch. The World Cup is over, done with. It really doesn't matter what I did there. I want to really raise the level here with the Dash and do anything possible to help the team win.
I think we have the caliber of players in the team this year to win a championship, so it can't be anything less than that.
Working with the Houston Astros to pioneer less invasive treatments for shoulder injuries. Using advanced training programs to help the Houston Dynamo and Dash avoid injury. And using innovative healing techniques to get the Houston Texans back on the field faster. Working with elite athletes to better treat the everyday athlete. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
The skyline of downtown Houston. It's the opener of the 2016 season, and here at halftime, it's the Houston Dash 1, Chicago Red Stars 1. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson. An exciting first half, Jen. Let's get right into those highlights as the Dash were able to equalize after a very bright Chicago Red Stars start to this one.
Dash almost getting on the board early. Rachel Daly taking a shot from distance, just went over. Later, Andressa getting a free kick. Great block by Alyssa Nair, who we've talked a lot about this game. But then, defensive mistake by the Dash. Errant back pass. You can't leave Christian Press open like that. She finishes. That's her 17th NWSL goal. But I would say 10 minutes later, great work by the Dash. Rachel Daly, her first professional goal, opening night goal, gets the Dash back in the game.
Yeah, they call that a goal scorer's goal, Jen. Just instinct to know the keeper's off her line and to take her chance.
And then later on, a bullet from Danny Colaprico, just wide, could have made it 2-1 for Chicago.
Really the only save that Lydia Williams had to save in her Dash debut. Pretty even first half, Jen.
Yeah, back and forth, very open, lots of attack by both teams. Be very interesting to see what we have in the second half in terms of any maybe adjustments, subs, and if weather does come into play later on.
Well, here in the broadcast booth, an exciting segment coming up next. Jen Cooper will be with NWSL Commissioner Jeff Plush. He announced that BBVA Compass Stadium will host the NWSL Final this October. Stay tuned. Next segment, it's Jen and Jeff Plush coming up. Halftime here at BBVA Compass Stadium. It's the Dash 1 and Chicago Red Stars 1. Press with the goal for Chicago. Rachel Daly, her first pro goal for the Dash.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
Come on, everybody, it's time to go. Come on, who's excited for the zoo today?
Getting more for your money is simpler than you might think. When you shop at Kroger, you get low prices throughout the store, weekly specials, great value from our quality brands, digital coupons, and even fuel points to help you save at the pump. No spin, just savings, pure and simple. Great food, low prices at Kroger.
All right, Jen Cooper, welcome back to the broadcast. I am here with Jeff Plush, the commissioner of NWSL. Jeff, thanks for coming to Houston.
Very pleased to be here, Jen.
Big announcement today. The NWSL final for 2016 will be held here in BBVA Compass Stadium. Talk about the decision by the league last year to put the final in a neutral venue, or rather predetermined venue, and then also choosing Houston for 2016.
Well, look, last year it was something we really wanted to do, be able to go to a preordained site and something where we could create a celebration of our game and our league. And Portland was such a fantastic host last year, and it happened on a little bit shorter notice, as everyone knows, last year. And they did a wonderful job for us. But being able to get out here and do this well in advance, announcing it in April for an October 9th final here at BBVA Compass Stadium, which is one of the best venues in our country. We're excited about what we can do, and Houston's a fantastic city for this. Final Fours or Super Bowls or whatever it might be, great big market. And so I think there's more that we can do. It's not just about the game on the Sunday. What else we can do with the youth? What else we can do in the community? Maybe some things with the arts. All soccer themed, as you know. Soccer is bigger than just the sport. It's very much about culture. So Houston's a big cultural city.
And I think it's so important that this final is going to be played on a weekend. I know that was one of the challenges last year, even though Portland certainly delivered with 13,000 fans. But to have it on a weekend, have national TV already set this far out, what is that going to allow the league to do in terms of improvements to the presentation of the final, the fan experience, just getting more around it?
I think anytime you can make it more accessible, you put it on a Sunday where so many families can come to it, people can travel in for it. I think you'd have a chance where maybe some away supporters will try and get down here for it, depending on which that away team might be. And so I think anytime you can have that, you can do a lot more. Sponsors can get more excited about it and activate. And so we're thrilled to just be thinking about the ideas. I know that we can lean on you and Amber Cox here at the Dash organization and all the people that can help us think about all the fun things we want to do.
Well, and of course we have to talk about the historic fourth season of the league. I mean, I know that makes you happy, makes me happy. What else are we going to see kind of rolling out? I mean, I love that this season for the first time we have an NWSL branded ball. We have the earliest announcement. What else?
Well, look, it's just whether it's the ball, whether it's the announcement, whether it's the Fox Sports deal again being announced early, we've got some things up our sleeve, we'll say, in the sponsorship marketplace. And so I think what you'll really see, we have a 10th team. And so being able to have 5 games this weekend, no buys, being able to create that cadence for everyone to get to know that their team is going to play basically every other weekend at home. Obviously, the Olympics will be exciting and be able to watch our country and other players that are going to be playing in that. So it's just fun to be here in the 4th season. So much work has gone into this. Full credit to everyone who came before me, certainly. And I'm hopeful that we just keep building on this and knowing that we have a great opportunity. A lot more to be done.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much for coming to Houston
Anytime.
for this match, making the announcement, and just, keep us in the loop.
My pleasure. Yeah, thank you. So.
All right, when we come back, we'll have the second half of Houston Dash versus Chicago Red Stars.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium. Entering the second half, it is Houston Dash 1, Chicago Red Stars 1. Kristen Press, the opening goal. Rachel Daly, the equalizer, her first professional goal. Thanks you to NWSL Commissioner Jeff Plush, who joined Jen in the booth at halftime. It's always a good time at BBVA Compass Stadium. The youth is out tonight. He's feeling youthful.
Pretty good crowd tonight. Matt, we heard that they had to open the upper deck for extra ticket sales.
That's always a very good time. We've had some great crowds here, over 13,000 last July after a World Cup victory.
And also this stadium hosted the Group B matches for Olympic qualifying for CONCACAF, as well as the semifinal and final. So we had the U.S. Women's National Team playing 2 matches here in February. Kind of great for the home fans to get an extra look at Carly Lloyd and Morgan Bryan. They even did a post-game Q&A for season ticket holders. And, of course, as we mentioned at halftime, another big match coming to BBVA Compass Stadium, NWSL Final, Sunday, October 9th. Mark your calendars.
Yeah, we were saying what a great sports year or two it's been. We had the Olympic qualifying tournament here in Houston, the Final Four, and the wonderful ending to that game, Villanova, North Carolina, just a few weeks ago. The NCAA Men's College Cup will be here in December, the NWSL Final here in October, and of course the Super Bowl next February.
So can we throw in a U.S. Women's National Team friendly in there somewhere, Victory Tour match?
Absolutely.
Why not? And Dynamo Charities Cup, we got to mention that too.
Real
Hosting
Sociedad.
Real Sociedad. Not a name you might know if you only kind of follow the top names, but longtime club in La Liga, usually up there. And Carlos Vela with Sociedad right now, right?
Absolutely. And Diego Reyes, 2 Mexican national team players. Really interesting club. They beat Barcelona a couple weeks ago. And they're in the Basque Country in Spain. They really rely on their youth academy more than some other clubs. A lot of good homegrown players for Sociedad. So it should be a very interesting game, May 24th. We loved having Valencia here in 2012. As you see, the Dash players warming up.
And we got to point out there in their new secondary kits, the Dash having both new home and away kits this season, and they let fans vote this week for which one the team would wear in the opening game, and 65% of the fans voted for the new secondary kit that was just unveiled Thursday. Of course, the new home kit unveiled 2 months ago. Both great designs incorporating orange, which is very traditional to Houston, and the Space City blue, back in the Oilers love you blue kind of day.
It was John DeWitt warming up the Dash right before the start of the second half. Long-time member of the Dynamo family with the Dynamo Youth Academy, has helped out the Dash for their 3 seasons.
He even helped Randy Waldrum with Trinidad and Tobago. He was down there for that final qualifier, December 2014. I went down to Port of Spain for that. The last Women's World Cup qualifier to decide the 24th team, Trinidad falling 1-0 in an 89th minute goal to Ecuador.
You see the conversation from 3 of the attacking players, Carly Lloyd, Kayla Ojai, and Rachel Daly.
And earlier we saw Lydia Williams going over some defensive moves with Poliana, and I really wonder if Lydia Williams speaks Brazilian Portuguese or Poliana was pretending to understand English, or if the hand gestures communicated it enough. Because what I've seen, at least with Andressa, is that she's still mostly in Brazilian Portuguese, types it into her phone, and holds up the translation.
Technology. Here we go. The Red Stars will get things underway. Attack from our left to our right. It's 1-1 as we start the second half here from Houston. Nope. No subs at halftime. Foot race here. Jen Hoy muscled off by Becca Moros. It's a deep throw in now for Chicago. Let's go down quickly now to the third member of our team, Ben Crook, who's on the sidelines.
Guys, I talked with head coach Rory Dames coming out of the half. He felt really fortunate to be tied at the half with the Dash, said that they were outplayed, didn't really feel like the team had confidence. He attributed it to the Dash's ability to play Portland and Seattle in the preseason. This is Chicago's first chance to go up against NWSL competition, and he believes that their ability to keep the ball and maintain some of that confidence will be key going into the second half, playing with the win. Back to you guys.
That's Ben Crook. Thanks to Ben. He'll be with us all season here on Dash Broadcasts. Carly Lloyd spinning away. Dames is a very honest coach. We talked to him earlier today, and he's doesn't try to maybe spin things. Pretty honest, and his assessment of the first half was very honest with Ben. Advantage play. We'll see if the Dash can capitalize. And the flag came up.
I really liked what he said about Chicago's playoff loss last September. They lost 3-0 to eventual champion Kansas City. And you think of a 3-0 loss, especially all 3 goals in the first half, and think it's a bad game.
Here's press against Ellie Brush. And it looked like Williams made a save at the near post. Good goalkeeping, and you see the speed and change of pace from Kristen Press.
So speedy, I hadn't finished talking. Yeah. Sorry, Kristen, I didn't mean to get in the way.
Yeah, Brecht seemed to have her covered, but great job to just create space from the U.S. women's national team forward.
Tough angle, but also a great way to earn a corner, and Danny Colaprico setting up for it.
5th corner kick of the match for Chicago. And good presence that time from Lydia Williams. Jen, one word that Ben used in his relay of Rory Dames' halftime assessment was confidence, and I agree with that. This Chicago team, especially the back four, does not seem that confident. Defending with the ball at their feet, it's a new group is sort of working together.
Right, Julie Johnson been gone a lot of preseason with the U.S. national team. Samantha Johnson, moving over to center, getting adjusted to that. Casey Short, new to the lineup. It takes time to adjust, and as Rory Dames said, it feels like he and the other teams that didn't play against NWSL competition preseason might be playing catch up. It'd be great to see in 2017 if maybe more tournaments can be organized like that.
Lloyd. And a very good challenge. That time by Sofia Huerta. Huerta scored twice against the Dash last May. Part of the NWSL's second 11. Last year was also the league's player of the month as part of that 2-goal performance in May. Good strength from Daly. Again, more strength from the England native. The ball's too heavy, but you can tell she's fired up for this debut, Jen. The goal helps, but really from the word go, she's been up for the moment.
Had some great goals against Texas A&M last week in their final preseason. We also saw her score against Baylor. I mean, she wants this, and just the fight that you saw her bring to St. John's. I mean, if you go to YouTube, Google her goals from St. John's, you can see she'll take the team on her shoulders and make something happen.
Alicia Chapman.
Chapman didn't get a lot of time with the team last year. Started off before the World Cup, but coming back from World Cup had a minor injury. But she's a really important spark here too, especially since Randy likes the outside backs to push up.
Good ball from Becky. Picks out Daly. Curled ball back post, and it's Lloyd to make it 2-1 Dash. Just a wonderful build-up, in and then out. And then Daly with the service. She adds an assist. And Lloyd, like her debut for the Dash last year, brings in 2016 with an opening goal.
Janine Becky out left. Daly getting the ball in front of goal. No way Lloyd is going to miss that. And I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen such a pinpoint header from Carly Lloyd. She has a lot of header goals. A few of them are that right in front of goal. Bullet straight in, straight down, which is the way you should head it in. 2-1 for the Dash.
In the blink of an eye, they get the goal. I love the early ball that time from Janine Becky. She saw Daly, picked her out, and we saw Daly's right-footed finish in the first half, showing she can use both feet competently. That was a beautiful left-footed delivery. 2-1 Houston.
And just the quick combination play that everybody knows where everyone else is, and they're ready for whatever's going to come. And of course, the Dash have led Chicago before. Last September, which was the final 2015 match for the Dash at Chicago, they went up 1-0 with a goal by Ella Masser, gave up a goal late. Here last May, they were up 2-0 over Chicago. Chicago fought back, tied it 2-2. And I know that's, Randy is not going to be content with 2-1 if they can't close it out.
Yeah, Dames again was honest with us this morning. Said some of those comebacks were, maybe a bit fortunate for Chicago, somewhat against the run of play. And Chicago has never lost to Houston, but he said it hasn't been for Chicago dominating. They just gotten the results. Lloyd with 4 goals last year for the Dash in 12 appearances. She opens up the 2016 season with a goal here in the second half, a memorable goal at the end of the first half last year against Washington.
And that is Carly Lloyd's 23rd NWSL goal, tying her with Lauren Holiday, who's now retired, and Allie Long from the Portland Thorns. There's only one person who has scored more than 23 goals, Matt and Kim Little from Seattle. I think everybody knew that one.
Andressa for Ojai. Johnston expected the goalie, perhaps. Now Ojai. Janine Becky, and Becky makes it 3! Another rookie in her debut, the Texas Tech product. And the Dash have 2 inside the first 9 minutes here in the second half.
I'm thinking Randy Waldrum can rest a little easier now. Again, combination play. Kaylee Ojai knowing exactly where Janine is. Janine, nice right foot, far corner, just past Alyssa Nair. Tough ball to save. Another rookie scoring. Another Texas Tech player showing us what they can do. You know, we had Jaylene Hinkle from Western New York Flash be a big player last year. And now here's Janine Becky's breakout, though she's already had multiple goals with Canada.
Now Press tries her luck from 35 yards. Sorry, Jen, but we've seen goals of that nature on this night. Press trying to get Chicago back within a goal, but
very open match, as we saw first half, back and forth, and hey, it's just more exciting for the fans.
Becky played here with Canada in February as part of the CONCACAF Olympic qualifying tournament. Well, we talked with Randy by phone yesterday. He kind of had that little twinkle in his voice, for lack of a better word, when he said young players will play tomorrow, and he told us Becky, Daly, but he had this sense of confidence in both. Daly has a goal and assist. Becky now has a goal. Becky was involved in another goal. So I think Randy saw something in his attacking group and his first round picks.
Well, and think of the players that he's sitting. You know, that Chioma Bogago had some really nice play in the Texas A&M game with Ojai and Daly up top. So he's got options on off the bench that he didn't have before. And, you know, we have to point out, Matt, only twice in the previous 2 seasons, twice in club history, have the Dash scored 3 goals in a game. You know, and both of those games were 2014 within a 6-week period. So this is huge for a club that only scored 21 goals in 20 games last season.
Yeah, it wasn't Julie Johnston's best play. She's been so good in this league and for the national team, but that entire sequence, a little bit passive. Now here's a forward run. Chicago with an opportunity. Good defending from Ellie Brush.
You know,
Gilliland getting forward for Chicago.
We haven't talked a lot about Amber Brooks, but a lot of this creativity up front is what her presence in the back has allowed the Dash to create, wouldn't you say? Kind of lets Lloyd and Andressa get further up, where we're not going to be calling her name for some fantastic play, but she's doing the dirty work in the back.
Wonderful vision and dribbling there from Andressa. Picks up Chapman. She likes to bomb forward. A little bit off in front of Daly. But going back to the goal, Jen, I don't know if Johnson expected Nair to come off her line, but she sort of conceded it to Ojai and then backed off further. Ojai had time to pick up her head and make a pass. We sort of know Julie Johnson for her tenacity in making those challenges, but on that time, Ojai capitalized on the opening.
And that could come from just her not having a lot of time with the team yet, like Rory Dames talked about playing catch up.
A nutmeg from Press, and she pulls it wide. That is a confident player right now, Kristen Press, who scored the first goal of this game, but the Dash have 3 unanswered.
And to assist on Carly Lloyd's goal and an assist in your first professional match.
For the Dash to make the playoffs this year, they're going to need a similar type performance as Rory Dames got from his draft picks last year. Chicago, second place in the regular season. It was the young players getting it done. For the Dash, with Becky and Daly and others, they need big performances from those two. And you might think Carrie Riquero, when she comes in, back from her surgery.
Yeah, you could say that the Dash bet the farm on those draft picks. They gave up a lot to get those first round picks, and Randy had mentioned that a lot of people were calling him the week of the draft trying to get them, and he was not going to give up any of those picks for any reason. And I know he was so excited with the 3 that he ended up with. I think he was surprised that Daly was available when he was able to get her.
Dash 3, Chicago 1. Press. Moros harassing. Lloyd comes away with it. It's been physical out there tonight. Referee Christopher Spivey has largely let them play. Becky. Now it's Andressa.
Well, we talked about her earlier, the 4th round draft pick, Courtney Rutzman. Looks like she'll be coming in as a sub for Chicago.
Yeah, big plaudits from Rory Dames. He said she's probably our most athletic, fastest player on the team. Here's Gilliland. Very good attacking player from the right back position. A huge rookie season, 19 appearances, 17 starts, a fixture along the back line last season. Good turn from Daly. Good challenge from Short against Lloyd. On the hour mark, it's Dash 3, Chicago 1. 2 goals early in the second half. Here for the Dash, it was Lloyd and then Janine Becky. Bad giveaway that time from Chapman. And it's DiBernardo. Huerta now. Motts. Good help that time as Daly worked back to help out Alicia Chapman. And now we're going to see our first booking of the night. Persistent infringement. And Motts has shown a yellow card. Motts from St. Louis played at Texas A&M, now in her 4th year with Chicago. It's fun to say that, Jen. Of course, it's an historic 4th season with the NWSL, and some of these players enter their 4th season.
Though we have to note, Chicago was also part of WPS and WPSL in the interim, so she's been there even longer. But yes, saying 4th season of NWSL is awesome.
Chapman. There's Brooks. Casey Short clears.
Now, Matt, if you're Randy Waldrum, do you just leave the lineup as is, or maybe bring in a sub at some point to rest some legs?
Well, I think this group has played very well in the second half. No real fitness issues that we're aware of. It's a pretty healthy group.
No heat issues.
No heat issues. It's a windy night. I've left the jacket on, somewhat surprisingly. We'll see. A lot of soccer left. I don't think any subs in the short term. But this group certainly deserves to stay on here in the 62nd minute. What a touch from Daly. Gets around Gilliland. Now it's Ojai. Numbers forward for the Dash. Lloyd wants it. And the pass just a bit off from Ojai.
It's been a tough night for Alyssa Nair to have 3 goals scored on her. She's probably having some Boston Breakers flashbacks, but she's been pretty solid back there. What's happened to her has usually been a defensive mistake that, nothing she can do. Sometimes there's nothing you can do to save a goal coming at you.
Well, here comes the first change of the night for Rory Dames and the Chicago Red Stars. Jen Hoy comes off, replaced by Courtney Reitzman, 22-year-old. As we said, Dames called Courtney perhaps his most athletic player, fastest, and that's saying a lot when you have players like Kristen Press and Julie Johnston on the team, among others. Reitzman on for Hoy. Another Illinois product, Courtney Reitzman. Lloyd with time and space for the dash. Becky. She has her first professional goal tonight. Good defending that time by DiBernardo. One back by Amber Brooks.
Now, Becky plays for Canada internationally, but she is from Colorado. One American parent, one Canadian parent. And she's really created a niche for herself in the Canadian lineup. She was not part of the World Cup team.
Now Ojai wants to join on the fun, but her shot well blocked by Sam Johnston.
But Janine Becky should certainly be part of Canada's Olympic team this summer.
Here we go. Keep up with Keeper Notes to stay in touch with all the latest women's soccer news on Facebook, Twitter, and at keepernotes.com. You better keep her notes.
Yeah, did NWSL previews. All kinds of great things this week leading up to this opening day. You know, Matt, we haven't talked much about the Olympics, but the draw was held Thursday in Rio, which is obviously the site of most of the Olympic competition. So the USA learned their group. They will be playing in Group G against New Zealand, France, and Colombia. Now, it's only a 12-team tournament, so even if they have a poor group performance, you know, you can still advance out of the group as a third-place team. But with just 12 teams, this is going to be such a tough road to the gold medal match. And of course, you know, the Canadians, because we've got some Canadian players and Australian players in Group F, Canada, Australia, Zimbabwe in their first ever senior international tournament, and Germany. And then Andressa, she and Poliana, they'll be the hosts, so they're in the first group, which is actually Group E. They'll be playing China, Sweden, and South Africa. Again, their first Olympics, and they actually have on the South Africa team an A&M player who's been training with them.
Always fun storylines heading into a major tournament as Becky finds Poliana in an advanced position. No problem that time for Alyssa Nair. Olympics begin in Rio in August. I think later than some expect. Normal time for the Olympics, but so many of the other major tournaments in soccer, June is the normal time. Here's Lloyd. What a ball for Becky! But she's sealed off well by Casey Shorts. Jen, just watching tonight, the wonderful thing about this new look Dash team is it gives the midfield players these options on the outlet. They're so much more willing to pick their head up and look for that ball that Lloyd just played for Becky. We've seen it with Andressa, Amber Brooks, and others. But with three fast players along the front line in Ojai, Daly, and Becky, that pass is on more times than not.
And I think with this third season, Randy Waldrum really figured out how to run a preseason, had fewer trialists to come in, so you had fewer movement, constant movement in and out of camp. So I think the core was able to build sooner, and then also to add on to that 9-day trip to the Pacific Northwest, playing against two NWSL teams and Oregon State. That's a much stronger preseason than they got in 2015.
Poliana pushing forward more in the second half. Janine Becky trying to thread it to Kaylee Ohai, but well defended by Casey Short. Now it's Andressa. Daly nods it towards Ohai. Julie Johnston is there. Excellent work from Becca Moros. Little Cruyff turn from Lloyd. Look at this from the dash. But well defended by Johnston against Becky. Playing with so much confidence right now, this Houston Dash team.
It's got to feel good sitting on a 3-1 lead when we've only scored 3 goals 2 years ago.
Brooks wanted the run from Ohai.
I think it's also helped that Carly Lloyd has become a lot more comfortable in Houston, has really embraced living in Houston, and has looked forward to, you know, coming back whenever she could from the national team.
Gilliland now, away from Chapman. Goal kick Houston. Don't miss the Dynamo as they take on the Sporting Kansas City Saturday, May 7th at 7:15 p.m. right here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Tickets are on sale now. Log on to HoustonDynamo.com today. Always a good rivalry. That will also be the return of Brad Davis, traded so he could move closer to his Midwest home of St. Louis. Now Davis will be back. Dynamo and Kansas City met 3 times in a row in the postseason. 2011, 12, and 13. There's Daly back for Poliana, just a touch heavy. Goal kick now for Chicago.
Yeah, and speaking of Kansas City, we've got the FC Kansas City Western New York Flash match going on right now. Not going to give away the score because I know there are people that watch these games one at a time. But just psyched to see that the Blues are playing in Sporting KC's home for their home opener.
Yeah, we're seeing that more and more. These own Chicago Red Stars played some of their games last year at Toyota Park in Bridgeview, Illinois, the home of the Chicago Fire of MLS. Dash, of course, have played here since day one in 2014. Gilliland. And now we'll see the first substitution for Randy Waldrum here in the 2016 season. It is Texas native and Stanford product Chioma Obagagu. And a big ovation here for Janine Becky after scoring in her debut. Chioma from Coppell, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Former Texas player there in 2010, a great career at Stanford. And then played for Arsenal Ladies at the FA Women's Soccer Super League last year.
Yeah, it's important to note that you know, Becky would have played the full 90, but you know, just coming back from that match in the Netherlands, they wanted to limit her minutes, kind of rest her, and of course we've seen Chioma play pretty well in the preseason. You know, we've seen the combination of Chioma, Ohai, and Daly, so it's the right sub.
Corner kick now for Chicago. Good hands. Lydia Williams had some pressure and was comfortable to take it down.
We should also note, Matt, that Chioma was part of the 2012 Under-20 Women's World Cup team. Kalia was on that team. She scored the game-winning goal in the final against Germany, as was, of course, Morgan Bryan, who's not playing tonight. But a lot of talented youth that have come up, through that system. And of course, Julie Johnston for Chicago was the captain of that team. This fall, we'll see the U20 tournament in Papua New Guinea. And of course, the U.S. have qualified for that. Mallory Pugh, who's already seen time with the senior team, she is age eligible for not only this U20 World Cup, but the next one.
That's not fair. Papua New Guinea, interesting location. FIFA picks unique locations for a lot of these tournaments, but I think that's a good thing. It lets the players go to a unique location, lets that country host wonderful soccer.
I think it also gives those countries a reason to invest in more facilities and resources, and because they get an automatic berth into the tournament, they end up developing their team more. We saw that when Trinidad hosted, I think it was the U17 tournament a while back, that they put a lot of time into that.
Good battle that time between Ohai and Julie Johnston. 3-1 the Dash over Chicago. Second half goals from Carly Lloyd and Janine Becky. That's the difference in this one. Christian Press opened the scoring. Rachel Daly tied things up midway through the first half. 4 goals on opening night. It's what the fans want to see, and especially a Dash lead here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Gilliland for Motts. Good position from Poliana. On the backside. Chioma, her first touch. She draws a foul. Free kick Dash. We might see another yellow card here from Christopher Spivey. Indeed, to Sam Johnson here in the 75th minute. Obagagu now into the game for her Dash debut. I think cool for her after Stanford to go back to London where she was born, play with a famed club like Arsenal. A good experience, but now she's back home in her home state.
And she was part of the draft last year, taken by Sky Blue, I think, but she didn't report, so Dash were able to acquire her rights. And that experience with Arsenal is valuable.
Amber Brooks.
And it's great, we've got the drums of Bayou City Republic going, leading the whole stadium in a cheer.
Obagagu wanted a handball. Ref lets them play. And great anticipation from Brooks. She just finds those passing lanes, anticipates where the ball's coming, just cleans up the mess. Jen, we didn't hear it from Brian Ching or Randy Waldron, but similar to the priority placed on Alyssa Nair for Chicago, I feel like Amber Brooks was probably the #1 target of the offseason for the Dash, maybe the most important acquisition for all the new attacking players. Dash haven't really had a player like Brooks with her experience and in that position, as Ben explained right before kickoff.
To be that sitting defensive mid that really lets Andressa and Carly Lloyd push forward and create more. You know she's always going to be back there. Last year, the triangle of Brian, Lloyd, and Andressa, it wasn't always clear who sat back and took the defensive responsibility.
Reitzman. A second half substitute for Chicago. Reitzman also out of Kentucky. 32nd overall pick this year. First team all SEC last year.
The largest draft the NWSL has had is, adding that 10th team meant 4 rounds of 10. So that was a nice 4-hour adventure that we had in Baltimore. And great to see that attendance tonight is higher than last season's home opener. 7440 tonight. Puts it up, I know that puts it in the top 10 all-time WOSO crowds in Houston, because of course I'm the kind of person that tracks that.
Next time we need a census, Jen, we're turning to you. You know crowds, you know numbers.
It's all the magic of Excel spreadsheets. Just don't let me lose my laptop. Well, and nice to hear too from the Dash front office that off-season ticket sales, full season ticket package sales went really well.
Good run here, Kristen Press. But good work for Moros. She came all the way over to cut down Press, who just in the open field is fun to watch.
Well, and much like you were talking about Amber Brooks being a piece the Dynamo didn't have, having a veteran playing center back, especially that much time, that's a huge addition for the Dash. I would say that's the one spot in the last 2 seasons that always gave the Dash trouble.
Here's the delivery. Lloyd there to head away. Another time from Colaprico. A loose ball. And the Dash able to clear. Again, Spivey letting them play, which is a good thing in my opinion. Clean challenge from the attacking player. Here's Press dropping deep to facilitate. She wanted the run that time from Motts. And as we go to this goal kick, a substitution for Randy Waldrum. It's Stephanie Oakes coming on. Ojai will come off. Let's go down to Ben Crook for more on Oakes and her 2016 debut.
Yeah, Matt. Stephanie Oakes coming back from a torn ACL suffered last April in just the 3rd game of the regular season against Boston. Has worked really hard, has been tremendous in her workouts, was running in December and is really eager to get back out on the field. Great to see her come out, playing back out at forward where she was originally a player for before transitioning to a defender. Great to see her back out on the field in 2016.
Very good, Ben Crook. Thanks for your report. Yeah, that's great. That's one really fun thing about this league, Jen. These players, many of them played forward or midfield in college. They get moved back just based off necessity. But in a pinch like this, Oakes get to play her natural position.
Well, and having the flexibility of a player like Oakes, and we even saw that in the preseason match at A&M, started at fullback and towards the end just move her up to forward. Same for Rebecca Moros. She can be center back, but later on, if Carrie Recaro takes that spot, she can move out wide and they push Oakes forward. Lots of options.
Lloyd down behind the play as Daly finds Poliana on the switch. Poliana. Here's Oakes. Her first touches. Good ball through. And it's a corner kick for the Dash. So Oakes, confident going towards goal. I think it's great, Jenna. Of course it's based off merit. Of course she's in the game because she deserves it. But I think Randy Waldrum, a nice gesture for someone that wants to play probably more than anyone after the knee surgery. She gets a debut here on opening night.
Yeah, she's been wanting to get back on the field for a long time. It's been a long wait. She looks so good in preseason. It was just great to see number 22 back on the field, especially when we know what she can provide in free kicks and corner kicks.
Andressa for this corner. Just past Lloyd. And it's out for a Chicago Red Stars throw in. Rory Dames about to make 2 substitutions, so going all in here with about 10 minutes left. It's going to be Kara Walls on for Sofia Huerta. That's the first change. And then Sarah Gordon will be the final sub for Rory Dames. And she'll come on for Alyssa Motts.
Sarah Gordon, another one of those draft picks. Talked a lot about her athleticism.
Good settle from Andressa. Smooth back heel for Lloyd. Lloyd caught a possession, but she wins it back. The Dash in position for their first win against the Chicago Red Stars. Here's Daly. Finds Oakes. Obagagu. Well defended that time. Johnson came to help. It's also Sarah Gordon in position as well. Here's Poliana. Good ball from Daly. Obagagu. Good tackle that time. Casey Short timed it well. Oakes is alone in the box. It's behind both Oakes and Lloyd. Now Chicago can push forward. Now out for a Dash throw-in. Dash have used the width of this field throughout the night. And there's a handball.
And that's something we talked about a little bit in the first half, Matt, is, you know, Chicago, all their home games up to this season have been at St. Benedictine, which is a very narrow field. You know, now they'll be at Toyota Park, so all their home games will be wide. It'll be interesting to see how their play adjusts to having that width more often. And just like, you know, Rory Dames talked about playing catch-up, maybe a lot of the preseason wasn't on a wide field.
Here's Carly Lloyd standing over it. Low and blocked that time by Colaprico. Ubagagu blocked out. Andressa. Her shot blocked by DiBernardo. Can Lloyd get there? Well read by Alyssa Nair. That's the presence and confidence that Rory Dames told us about this morning with his new goalkeeper coming off his line into traffic.
Especially having a goalkeeper that faces the FIFA Women's World Player of the Year regularly in practice, you know, with the national team.
He said Nair brings calmness to our back line. Good at dealing with crosses. Good footwork there from Becca Moros. And an even better ball. Ubagagu has Oakes. It's Oakes, and it's kept out by Nair. What a story that would have been. We've had goals from 2 debutantes and could have had a goal from Oakes in her return.
Great reaction save from Nair. Just she's in the right place. She knows exactly what to do. Most keepers in this league, frankly, Matt, that could have gone in.
Yeah, in addition to all those intangibles like presence and calmness, it's pure reaction and shot stopping on display there from the 27-year-old from Bridgeport, Connecticut. The offside flag comes up, and we'll see the final substitution made by Randy Waldrum for the Houston Dash. It's Katie Heap. Her signing announced just this morning, and she comes on for Andressa.
Katie Heap, another player out of Texas Tech. You know, great 4 seasons with the Red Raiders, made it pretty deep in the NCAA tournament, taking that final 20th spot on the Houston Dash roster. You know, and looking back at Steph Oaks' attempt on goal, you know, she was a forward for the Washington Spirit in 2014. Dash picked her up early 2013 for the Spirit. Dash picked her up in 2014. She's played fullback the whole time. That would have been her first career NWSL goal.
Good strength from Lloyd. The flag comes up. I think a good call on the far side. Either Oaks or even Daly, but Oaks wants that first goal. Now a chance here for Chicago. And good goalkeeping. Williams came off her line to prevent the corner. Casey Short. And it's a throw-in for Chicago. Don't miss the Dash as they take on Sky Blue FC Friday, April 29th, 7:30 p.m. right here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Tickets are on sale now. Log on to HoustonDynamo.com today. Crowd here was treated to a wonderful opening night. You don't want to miss out. One of the best values in town. Season tickets, Jen, what, about $135 for 10 games?
That's nothing.
Now Gilliland against Alicia Chapman. Good defending by Chapman. Block the cross.
Especially when you factor in the perks that the full season ticket holders get, like, you know, the Q&A with Morgan Bryan and Carly Lloyd after CONCACAF, and there's a Meet the Team event coming up in a couple of weeks.
Or the chance to come in 15 minutes early on a night like tonight when there's Carly Lloyd bobbleheads given out. Hearing from Ben, we'll have 2 minutes added on here at the end of the second half. This looking like a Houston Dash opening win. Good strength from Brooks against Kristen Press. Picked the right pass after as well. Gordon, the substitute for Chicago. Nice work from Daly, putting in the defensive work as well. And she has a goal and assist to boot. Ulagagu waiting for help. She might just go herself. Here she is. And in the end, good help from Casey Short. You love that instinct of an attacking player, Jen. She looked back, saw no one was there, and said, 90th minute, Dash debut, I'm going to go for it. And really almost got a shot away.
And she had a late goal in the preseason match last weekend at A&M. Just when we thought there weren't going to be any more goals.
Amber Brooks.
Now, Matt, Dash won their opener last year, hosting the Spirit 2-0.
Johnson with the foray forward, but Poliana there to defend.
but I would say this is probably a more satisfying opener for Randy in terms of what he's seeing as on both ends of the field.
Another good play from Daly. Trying to pick out Chioma, who had space between the center backs, but could not get past Gordon. Stoppage time here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Good touch from Chapman.
Right on the whistle.
And a bright start for the Houston Dash. They want playoffs here in 2016. And the best start they could ask for. A 3-1 win, 2 rookies scoring in their debut, a third from the reigning World Player of the Year, and a win against last year's #2 team in the regular season, the Chicago Red Stars. Full time from BBVA Compass Stadium. It's the Houston Dash 3, Chicago Red Stars 1. We'll come back with a player interview or two, highlights and more. Final score from Houston, it's the Dash 3, Chicago Red Stars 1.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
One last screw, sweetie, and we're done.
Sweet! You deserve the sweet reward of a Diet Dr. Pepper.
I do?
You built this big old house with that tiny tool.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh.
That is sweet.
Oh, yeah!
You know, the game's about to start.
That's my ride.
Is that our cat?
Step on her. Real sweet! Diet Dr. Pepper. It's the sweet one.
Working with the Houston Astros to pioneer less invasive treatments for shoulder injuries. Using advanced training programs to help the Houston Dynamo and Dash avoid injury. And using innovative healing techniques to get the Houston Texans back on the field faster. Working with elite athletes to better treat the everyday athlete. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium. Let's go down to Ben Crook, who's with Rachel Daly.
All right, we're here with our BHP Billiton Player of the Match, Rachel Daly. Rachel, first professional game, a goal and an assist and a win. How's it feel?
It's amazing, you know. Like I said, I set myself individual goals every game, every training, and you know, to get out here and get a goal and get an assist is huge on my first game. But you know, the win is the most important thing, especially in front of this amazing crowd. So thanks to the fans for that, but amazing win.
And as a professional, this is your first time in front of an environment like this. What was it like stepping out of the field and seeing all these people?
It's amazing, you know, it's every kid's dream to be a professional soccer player, and I'm living my dream. These fans are amazing, they interact well with us, they tweet us, they come to training, they come to games, and just to see the amazing turnout, you know, it's huge for us, it's huge for them, and we hope to get more and more support every week.
Great. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Ben. You can see here why these players are so liked by this community. Good speakers. They all went to college. They have personality. It's easy people to root for. And Rachel Daly has the presence after her opening game.
And they're so accessible and they're so open, and you see how much they want this and how much it means to them. When it's pretty public how little most of these players are paid. They love doing this, and to be supported while they're doing this just makes it that much more special for them.
Well, let's let the highlights do the talking. Go right back to our highlights and see the highlights from this 3-1 win. Christian Press forcing a save from Lydia Williams.
And then, of course, great goal, Becky to Daly. Bullet header from Carly Lloyd to put the dash up 2-1. You don't see it more accurate from Lloyd off the header. Most of her goals are with her feet, but that was great. And then, not much later, Ohai to Becky, getting her first professional goal, just like Rachel Daly. First professional game, first professional goal, where she's had a lot of goals for Canada this season. And then late in the game, Chioma taking a shot. Great block by Alyssa Nair.
And here's the full-time stats from BBVA Compass Stadium. You see the dash with an edge in shots. Chicago, 9 corners, but a very big positive for the dash. 9 corners for Chicago, no goals conceded from a set piece.
Especially when the problem for the dash the last 2 seasons has been defending set pieces. So Randy Waldrop's going to look at that stat and feel very satisfied tonight.
Jen, last thought on the opening of this 4th season, and also a look ahead to the Dash's first road game at the Citrus Bowl next week.
Well, just like the Dash game tonight, Dash for Chicago, we're seeing better play than we ever had before. The other matches tonight and the ones tomorrow, I'm sure we're seeing the same level of action. And next week, opening up a historic 10th franchise for the league. We've heard already 25,000 tickets sold, and the Dash to go in that environment, that is going to be a tough challenge, but a great experience for those players.
Well, we'll sign things off from BBVA Compass Stadium. For Jen Cooper, I'm Matt Peterson. This game had it all. 3 goals, 2 rookies scoring on their professional debut, and of course, the World Player of the Year, Carly Lloyd, getting in the act as well. The Dash come from behind, 3 unanswered goals for 3 points on opening night. Final score from BBVA Compass Stadium, it's the Houston Dash 3 and the Chicago Red Stars 1.